Welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend review, reviewing all of this weekend's Premier League and Championship action. Starting off in the Premier League, Watford 0, Liverpool 5. A hat-trick from Firmino and goals from Salah and Mane, still to win for Liverpool, and Liverpool were just on another level here. Some of the best football I've ever seen played from Liverpool. Watford just couldn't keep up with him. I doubt many teams would, but yeah, Ranieri, it's a tough start, but yeah, not a lot they could have done with the performance from Liverpool. Salah's just insane. Moving on, Southampton 1, Leeds 0 was the score at St Mary's. The only other goal of the game coming from Armando Broja in the 53rd minute. And yeah, you'd have to say Southampton deserving of the win here. 19 shots compared to Leeds 3, 5 on target. Leeds didn't even get a shot on target. And for Leeds, yeah, this was a really concerning performance. They weren't great here at all. But for Southampton, it's exactly the kind of lift-off they needed. Moving on, Norwich 0, Brighton 0 was a score at Carrow Road, and yeah, this was a really positive step forward for Norwich. Really did compete with Brighton. Brighton may have had more possession, but you know, Norwich was solid enough, and yeah, it's a draw against Brighton, who are still in 4th place, and yeah, it just shows how promising they can be this season if they get a couple of results together, but they just need that win. Brighton, they weren't as good here. Moving on, Leicester 4, Manchester United 2 was the score at the King Power. Greenwood put United ahead with a brilliant goal before Tielemans and Soinchu put Leicester 2-1 up. Rashford responded with an equaliser before Vardy immediately put them back in front, and Daka with the other goal of the game. And Leicester, I would say they deserved it here. United, they were poor, but you know, Leicester, it's kind of season defining for them because they haven't had a great start. I hope they can pick up now, but the pressure grows on Ollie. Moving on, Manchester City 2, Burnley 0 was the score at the Etihad. Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne were the only goals of the game. And you know, Burnley, and they weren't terrible here. Normally they get whacked like 5 or 6-0. But you know, 2-0 seemed about a fair score, and it was a comfortable win for City, but they weren't destroyed like Watford were against Liverpool. But you know, City, all they really needed from this was a win. They did exactly that. It was very comfortable. So you know, can't really complain. Villa 2, Wolves 3 was the score in a crazy game at Villa Park. Villa looked to be cruising with goals from Ings and McGinn before 3 goals in the last 15 minutes from Wolves sealed the win. Saiss, Cody and Neves. And yeah, Villa, they should have walked this easily. They were the best team for 99% of the game, and then just collapsed right at the end. So disappointing for them. And yeah, down to 12th now. You really do wonder how that will affect their confidence. And for Wolves, the opposite. Moving on, Brentford 0, Chelsea 1 was the score at the Brentford Community Stadium. And yeah, Ben Chilwell with the only goal of the game in the 45th minute. And yeah, this was a comfortable win for Chelsea. Absolutely not. Brentford, 17 shots on target compared to Chelsea's 5. 7 on target, only 1 for Chelsea. Mendy had an insane game. But yeah, Chelsea scrapping out the win, but Brentford, they were outstanding. Moving on, Everton 0, West Ham 1 was the score at Goodison Park. Ogbonna with the only goal of the game in the 74th minute. And yeah, this was a really tight game. I would have probably said a draw would have been a fair result. But you know, West Ham, if I had to pick a winner, I'd probably say they just about did enough to wedge it. And yeah, West Ham going to Everton, it's a tough place to go, so they'll be really happy with that. It's a solid win, bit of a shaky run recently, so they'll be delighted. Newcastle 2, Tottenham 3 was the result in Newcastle's first game under new ownership. The atmosphere was incredible. Callum Wilson gave them the dream start at the 2nd minute before goals from Ndombele and Kane gave Tottenham the lead. The fan then collapsed in the pit in the crowd. Obviously hope he's okay. It seems like it, thank God. Before returning to the football, Son gave Tottenham a 3-1 lead, and they were cruising when Shelby got a red card. Dyer scored an own goal to make it a bit of a nervy start, but yeah, parts of Newcastle's ownership, it was poor. I think that's Steve Bruce's last game realistically, which is a shame, but you know, they were thoroughly outclassed there. Arsenal 2, Palace 2 was the score on the Monday night game. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang gave Arsenal a lead in the 8th minute before 2 goals after half-term from Benteke and Edouard gave Palace a 2-1 lead. It looked like they were going to hold on. They were sitting deeper and deeper, but with practically the last kick of the game, Lacazette gave Arsenal the draw. And yeah, to be honest, I thought Palace deserved it, but just backing off, it kind of was inevitable that it's going to happen. Such a shame for them. But Arsenal, not a great result, but they'll be happy to have recovered a point right at the last. From 1, Birmingham 0 was the score in the Championship on Friday night in the derby. Carlin Grant with the only goal of the game in the 75th minute. And yeah, this was a quite even game, to be honest. West Brom, I thought they'd win this more comfortably, but they just about did enough for the win. But Birmingham, yeah, despite no result, this was a better performance. But still no win for them. They really do need a result soon. But as for West Brom, yeah, this was a big win for them, and now gain confidence from this, hopefully. But moving on, Fulham 4, QPR 1 was the score at Craven Cottage. Mitrovic gave Fulham the lead in the 10th minute before Lyndon Dykes equalised in the 55th minute, before goals from Mitrovic again, Bobby Reid and Anthony Robinson sealed the win for Fulham, and that takes them up into third after a bit of a shaky run before the break. Hopefully this is the springboard they needed. As for QPR, yeah, they kind of would have hoped for a better start after the break, but yeah, it was always going to be a tough game for them, so hopefully they'll rebound. Moving on, it finished Stoke 1, Sheffield United 2 at the Bet365 Stadium, at Bramall Lane. Goals from Jacob Brown gave Stoke the lead before Lise Mousset and David McGoldrick sealed the win for Sheffield United. 2 late goals, they'll be super happy with that. Stoke, yeah, they'll be disappointed though from where they were. They really should have at least got a draw, if not a win. But for Sheffield United, hopefully that's a competent booster they need. Reading 1, Barnsley 0 was the score at the Select Car Leasing Stadium. John Swift was the only goal of the game in the 77th minute. And yeah, Barnsley, they were much improved here. 16 shots to Reading's 10. But in the end, they just couldn't get the result, which is a massive shame for them. But Reading is another great result for them. The performance might not have been the best, but at the moment, you have to say they are grinding out wins, and that's all that matters, really. Preston 0, Derby 0 was the score at Deepdale. And yeah, to be honest, there was only one winner in this if it was going to go to a winner, and that was Derby. They were outstanding here, had the majority of the game, but just couldn't find that goal. When you have 17 shots, you kind of really want to score at least one of them, but they just couldn't manage that. But Derby, it's still really encouraging signs. Wayne Rooney's doing a great job today with everything that's going on. Preston in 18th, they're looking for that elusive win. They haven't had one for ages. Moving on, Forest 2, Blackpool 1 was the score at the City Ground. Another great one for Forest. Johnson gave them the lead in the 22nd minute before Jerry Yates equalised in the 53rd minute, but Lewis Grabban in the 61st minute gave Forest the 2-1 win. And yeah, that was good money for that win here. The better team, and yeah, the transformation under Steve Cooper so far has been brilliant. They look a totally different side. And getting that home win is big for them. Moving on, it finished Millwall 0, Luton 2 at the Den. And yeah, you'd have to say Luton were good value for their money here. 2 goals for Harry Cornick. They played really well, defended really well. But Millwall will be disappointed because it did feel like they were starting to turn a corner before the international break and turning those draws into win. But yeah, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, or whatever the quote is. Kind of sums up Millwall here. Not too great for them, really. Moving on, Middlesbrough 2, Peterborough 2-0, was the score at the Riverside. Paddy McNair in the 85th minute from the spot, and Josh Corburn in stoppage time giving Middlesbrough the win. And yeah, to be honest, you have to question why it took so long. Middlesbrough were dominant here. Peterborough didn't even get a shot on target, and to be honest, yeah, it was a deserved win for Middlesbrough, but Peterborough, with some of the players they have, I know they've recently promoted, but they still do have some quality players at this level. I kind of expected a bit more from them here, to be honest. Huddersfield 2, Hull 0 was the score at the John Smith Stadium. Tom Lees and Dwayne Holmes with the only goal of the game for Huddersfield. And yeah, they were pretty comfortable here. Probably deserved the win. Hull weren't dreadful, but yeah, once again, it's just Hull not getting a result. And even with that win before the break, the pressure has to start growing on Grant McCann now. It's really not working out for him, but Huddersfield, another great result. Moving on, Bristol City 0, Bournemouth 2 was the score at Ashton Gate. Jamal Lowe and Zamora gave Bournemouth the win, and yeah, they totally outclassed Bristol City here. They were dominant from start to finish, and that home curse continues for Bristol, but Bournemouth, they were outstanding here, and yeah, you keep thinking Fulham and West Brom will catch up, but if they keep on playing like this, then they definitely won't. But moving on, Blackburn 2, Coventry 2 was the score at Aylward Park. Joe Rothwell and Sam Gallagher with the goals for Blackburn just on the stroke of half-time and gave them a 2-0 lead before 2 goals in 6 minutes for Coventry equalled the game up, and yeah, great result for Coventry, fully deserved points. It was an even game between the two of them, and to come back from 2 goals that will give them a lot of confidence. But for Blackburn, you kind of feel it will have the opposite percent. They really should have won this. Moving on, Swansea 3, Cardiff 0 was the score at the Liberty Stadium. Goals from Jamie Patterson, Joel Pirro and Jake Bidwell sealed Swansea the win, and they were great here. From start to finish, definitely the best team, deserved the win. 3-0, hopefully it's the turning point for Russell Martin, because, you know, they've had an inconsistent at best season so far. But for Cardiff, I just don't understand why they can get rid of Big Mick during the break. It's clearly not working. I'd be surprised if a change doesn't happen soon. But anyway, guys, that's that video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to the channel on the screen. I know they're greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.